This is Actual Radio.
So good morning, Matt Cardle.
Dom, how you doing?
I'm good, fella. It's been a while. How's lockdown treating you?
It's all right, mate. It's all right. You know, I know it's different for everyone, but I can't complain. I've got the studio here. I'm here with Amber and Ted, and it's all fine.
Are you enjoying the seclusion or missing the action?
I'm missing the action of, being able to go and tour and go and play shows and all the theatre stuff and everything like that. I'm not missing the, obligatory hangouts with people that you don't necessarily want to see.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? I'm not looking forward to everyone being like, hey, we're going to go and do this, and you're not really wanting to go and do it. And there's going to be a lot of that in a few weeks.
But I think a lot of people will have learned a lot more about themselves due to this, and as a result will probably learn to say no a bit more, maybe, Yeah,
I think so. And also I think people's sense of what they really want to do has changed a lot over this year. People's focuses have shifted a lot, so let's see. Fingers crossed anyway.
Well, on that subject, last time we spoke was back in 2017. I was working for a completely different radio station. We were backstage at Jimmy's Farm Festival. You'd just come off stage,
right.
And we were having a conversation. And in the conversation, completely randomly, I was asking about your plans. And usually when we talk, it's usually like, yeah, I've got to get this album finished. It's going on. But one of the these things that came up was the fact that you quite like the idea of going into the West End, and you really like the idea of doing a bit of Les Mis. How's that plan going?
I think that's a couple of years off for me. I mean, I've spoken to the people at Les Mis before and had little workshops and stuff like that. I think because I'm so early into the game, and I mean, look, let's face it, you don't walk on to do Valjean as your third thing ever in the West End. You need to earn your stripes a little bit more. So late 2018, I played Pilate in Jesus Christ Superstar.
I know, because I was there, I saw it. And I have to say, that show as a whole, I have never seen anything so phenomenal as far as stage is concerned. It was incredible and such a real change to the norm, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. I mean, it was so intense. I mean, well, at least the second half is. The first half, you're a bit like, oh, cool, everyone's like, Jesus, it's great. And then, and I bring the doom and the death, and it's kind of, second act of the show is pretty intense, and, it was a hell of a ride for everyone every night. That entire cast was absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, Judas, incredible stuff.
Lucky. I mean, God, his voice, Ricardo Alfonso and Rob Tripolino, and oh my God, everyone was just Saleh. It was just amazing.
And then you swagger on with your guitar hanging off your hip and do your thing. What was it like working with Andrew Lloyd Webber on that?
Do you know what? It was remote. I'll say he wasn't particularly present. He came in one night and he enjoyed it. But we didn't know where he was coming in. It's that kind of undercover boss thing.
Yeah.
If everyone, don't get me wrong for a minute, like, no one's like not pulling their weight ever, but if Andrew's in, you're going to give it absolutely everything you can give it.
Completely.
But yeah, he came in and he saw it. He said he enjoyed it.
What's your next step as far as the West End? When everything's back up and open, we're probably looking autumn now. Are you planning on going back in? They're bringing Moulin Rouge to the West End in the autumn. I think you do rather well in that. Yeah.
Oh, bless you. No, do you know what? I always keep that door open, Dom. I'll never not want to take part in whatever I can get role-wise in the West End. At the moment, the real focus is on the new album and Purple Crayon on the next single. But like I say, that avenue is there for me, and I'm so glad it is, because I absolutely love it.
Now, the new single, or the recent single, Purple Crayon. We played it the first morning it came out. I hear Brilliant. It wasn't just your handiwork. I hear you teamed up with your other half for that.
I did, yeah, and that's when we first started chatting about being in lockdown and whatnot. We go in the studio, me and Amber, we mess about and we drink, we get up to no good and just have fun. And there's lots of stuff, lots of time during lockdown. And one night we went in there and we were like, well, why don't we write a song together? And then Purple Crayon came out of it, and it's the first single. So, I mean, she's absolutely amazing at it, and she didn't know, and neither did I. So now we go to work every time we're in the studio. We're not just doing it for fun,
It's meant to be. That's what it was. I mean, one of the things I like about Purple Crayon is it explores those dark areas, which we're not going to talk about, but it kind of felt really uplifting at times. Right. It reminded me of some of the early Chris Martin Coldplay stuff.
I mean, I'll take that.
Yeah, I thought you might.
Take that all day long. Yeah, thank you, Dom. No, look, we wanted to do it in a positive light, and because there's been, a nice chunk of time between then and now, you can look at it retrospectively and spin it positively, because you have to look at the positive sides of everything.
There was a comment you made. It was with the Metro, and you came up with a phrase, which I think, if you're looking for a title for the album, I think you've come up with it already.
Go on.
It was Episodes of Falling Apart. Episodes of Falling Apart. I thought, that's got to be an album title, surely. That's fantastic.
That's good. I'm going to write that down now, Dom. Cheers, mate.
That's all right. It's a service I offer. So, the new stuff, are you looking at taking it in a different direction now?
Well, absolutely. I'm producing it all myself this time around. And I'm not for a minute doing any disservice to any of the other records that I've written and other people have produced. But when you're that involved and you're writing it, and now I know how to get it across the way I want to get it across, it's so good to have my hand on that wheel. So with Purple Crayon and the rest of this album I've produced myself, it's a blessing and a curse. I get it to sound exactly how I want it, but when you're that inside the animal, it's hard to see what's really going on.
Completely, like anything. But it's a blessing of lockdown.
100%. And if it wasn't for lockdown, it wouldn't be there. The song just wouldn't be there, or a different song would be there, and I wouldn't want it that way.
So you can't go out and do physical shows at the moment, but you are going to try and get into people's living rooms with a bit of a show with our very own Wizard of Colchester, as I like to call him, Michael J. Fitch, who we had on the show the other day to tell us about it when you sort of started selling tickets. But this is great. I mean, you two have known each other for a while now, yeah?
Yeah, we've known each other for a decade, and we're good mates. And you know how phenomenal Michael is. And I mean, he's just been, ushered into the inner magic circle. And like when he told me that, I didn't stop reeling for about a week. I mean, there's only 300 people allowed in. You've got Darren Brown in there, Yuri Geller, and now Michael Fitch.
Yeah, but you don't trust him with your spoons, that Michael J. Fitch. Have you had him round for dinner?
Yeah.
Honestly, he sits there just quietly chatting, and suddenly you look and he's gone, and all the spoons are bent.
Not with my nice silverware.
So what are you planning for the evening? What's the idea of this event?
So the idea is to create a fully interactive evening of music and magic. And what it came about when I was chatting to Michael, and he sent me a video of his daughter, who's a huge fan, and it was this beautiful video of her. She'd fallen asleep writing a note to me. So he said, do you want to get on FaceTime and say hello, and I'll do you a night of magic? And it was absolutely phenomenal. And I can't describe just how well it works over Zoom, because, it's not these aren't your average Zoom calls, and it won't look like your average Zoom calls, because we've got, proper HD cameras, 4K, all that lot. It looks like you're watching telly, but it just translates so well. And I said to him after that, I was like, how can I repay you? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll play you and the girls a little gig next weekend. And then I did that over Zoom, and we just thought, why don't we make a show out of it? Because it worked so well. And, one thing that I've always been aware of when I'm doing live shows is not to have too much of the same thing. I like to try and get the dynamic as varied as possible. And what's great is we can flick from the magic to the music, and it just will work so well. And it's so interactive, because it's kind of going to be a little bit like your Saturday night takeaway, because everyone's on the Zoom call. You can see everyone, and any minute we can flip to someone's household, and people better put some decent clothes on to do your hair, and if you want your camera on, do you know what I mean? It's just going to be so much fun, and the magic will be absolutely mind-blowing.
Well, it's Friday the 12th of March, isn't it? That's it is.
That's right, yeah.
People can go online. There's a link on our Facebook page already, but I'll highlight that and pin that to the top so people can find it more. Book your tickets, get yourself a seat literally in the front row. I hear from Michael he's going to teach you some magic.
Yes, he is.
Are you going to teach him to sing? Because I've heard him sing.
No, that one's not going to happen. But one of the things he can do is he can make it. He got me to get a pack of cards while we were doing the Zoom, and he can do the magic trick, but I'm holding the cards, so we can do that with the people on the at the gig or at the show. If you've got a pack of cards in your hand, he can do something, and when the magic literally lands in your lap, it's just so incredible. It's so
You're a good salesman. Oh, listen to you.
That is true.
How do you fancy, after this is all finished and everything sort of clears itself up and all that. You two doing that in a theatre, that would be great.
That's the idea. That's the idea, Dom. As soon as we can do this from household to household, but it's going to become even bigger and better when we can be on the same stage, and I have my band with me, and blend the two things seamlessly. It will just be a hell of a show.
I hear you're talking about doing requests as well. How good's that? You can be sitting in your home asking Matt Cardle to sing your favourite song. And you know what? The great thing about Matt Cardle is that he doesn't just do his own stuff. He is the expert when it comes to cover versions. So I'm putting in my vote already for your version of Jolene, which I love. Okay, amazing. Done. I love Jolene. And listen, fella, I wish you best of luck with that. And please, when you got the album ready, get in touch. We'll get you on. And amazing. And thank you very much, fella.
Cheers, Dom. Take it easy, mate.
This is Actual Radio.